Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time looking at fantasy of all sorts, from books to movies to video games, and applying the characters within into the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. And today, we're going to be looking at a great hero from the era of video games that basically showed up in the 90s when fantasy mixed with science fiction, and the worlds of Final Fantasy became known in the popular eye. The series Final Fantasy has been around for many, many years, starting in the 80s, and not a whole lot of people outside of Japan and hardcore fantasy nerds played it, but in the 90s, PlayStation got a hold of it, and Final Fantasy VII appeared with its giant sword-wielding, spiky-haired protagonist, Cloud Strife. And in this steampunk magic tech world that he lived in, people fell in love with the franchise, and it gave it a whole bunch of new fans and a whole legacy that it lives up to this day. But Cloud Strife himself is a very interesting character. Let's have a look-see how he would appear in a D&D game. Cloud is 21 years old, about 5'7", 150 pounds, white skin, blue eyes, and that classic spiky blonde hair. He has a soldier background, as he was raised in the military, and a chaotic good alignment, although he is definitely not a rule follower. He's a terrorist, technically. He does so against an evil corporation. And his race, given his features, is High Elf. He's actually got more elven features than human ones, although he's a little short for an elf. What kind of class would he be? That's actually pretty easy to determine, since he is mostly a fighter, but he does wield some magic. I called him an Eldritch Knight. As an Eldritch Knight, he wields both all the powers of the fighter, as well as some of the magic of the wizard. His strength is 18. He is supremely strong, and his dexterity is 18. He is both fast and strong. His constitution is 16, being pretty tough. His intelligence is 12. Magic isn't his go-to ability, but he does know a little bit about it. His wisdom is 12. He's not exactly what you'd call a strategist, although he knows a little bit of tactics. And his charisma is 10. He's not particularly charismatic at all. He just kind of blunders in and has to rely on other folks to do the talking for him. He's proficient in strength and constitution saving throws. He is proficient in the acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, intimidation, and perception skills. He also speaks Common, Elvish, and Sylvan, is proficient in all weapons, all armor, as well as being proficient in land vehicles with that iconic motorbike of his. But he doesn't carry a whole lot of gear with him. He carries a +1 set of studded leather armor, giving him a little bit of magical protection and an AC of 17. And he has the Buster Sword, which for the purposes of this, I'm just calling a +1 greatsword, since it is a two-handed weapon. Even though Cloud can technically wield it in one hand, he normally wields it in two. He has 85 hit points and a speed of 40 thanks to one of his feats. His elven heritage gives him dark vision, fey ancestry, and the trance power. His soldier background gives him the military rank feature. He has a fighting style, which is great weapon fighting. He has the second wind, the action surge powers, as well as the extra attack feature and the indomitable feature. As an Eldritch Knight, he has the weapon bond power, so he can summon his weapon to him at will, of course, the classic Buster Sword. And he has the war magic power, which allows him to swap out his attacks for his cantrips. He has the feats Mobile, which makes him faster, and the Great Weapon Master feat, which lets him wield that Buster Sword with incredible strength, at a slight loss of accuracy. And then, as an Eldritch Knight, he has access to a few spells. He's not particularly accurate with them. His intelligence is a little bit lacking, but he knows the Booming Blade cantrip, as well as Shocking Grasp and Create Bonfire. And then for his first level spells, he can cast Shield, upping his defense temporarily, but he's primarily an attacker, using Burning Hands, Thunder Wave, and Witch Bolt. And if he really needs to tap in, he can use his magic to tap into the Borrow Knowledge spell, which gives him proficiency in another skill. And the Dragon's Breath spell, which lets him use his bonus action to breathe an element of Dragon's Breath into the battlefield. This gives him a wide variety of elements that he can use and weaponizes his bonus action, meaning that Cloud is never without different options for him to use alongside his mighty weapon. All in all, Cloud is only a level 9 character. He relies mostly on teamwork and on the abilities of both his magic, his powerful sword, his agility, and his features, as well as teamwork. He is, quite truly, a D&D character. He is the quintessential Eldritch Knight, because he wouldn't necessarily be out of luck on his own, since he would have the magic to back up his combat prowess, and he's very tough, but he does best when he's in a group, just like us, just like D&D players. Yeah, we could, in theory, go on solo adventures, but in the end, we are at our best when our friends are at our back. And Cloud, as an Eldritch Knight, is a staple of a mid-tier character that would do very well as an NPC to stand alongside you at your greatest moments in the mid-tier, facing up against vicious monsters and villains, and I think that he would be a wonderful addition to any D&D game. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more character creations coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.